Welcome. I'm so glad you can join me in this workshop. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from where I'm presenting this workshop in Noongar Binjarab country, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present. My name is Bronwyn Chompff-Gliddon, and I am the founder and director of Evertrue Solutions. I help small business owners to be sustainable and viable, and we achieve this through permaculture. I have packed a ton of really valuable information into this workshop, so we don't have a moment to waste. And now this is the first time I'm doing this as a social media live event instead of doing an online workshop on Zoom. And so I'd really love to know what you think and how does it work. So please comment, ask questions, see how we go. And let me just remove this notification that's telling me something. No, okay. We're good. We're good. Okay. There's always some sort of teething problem, isn't there? This is the first time, so everything's a bit new. Okay. Just going to add, there's a problem with Facebook, and so I'm just going to remove it and then add it in again. Is it working now? Yes, okay, we seem to be working now on Facebook. Okay, so that was fun. All right, so your life and your business, your family, your home, everything's okay. Everything's all right, everything's familiar. You have your routine, you know what to expect from each day. You have order. But you want something to be better. So you set a goal or you make a resolution. You look around and you find something that you want, and it requires you to do something new. And you decide that this thing that you want to do is going to make your life better than what you have now. And you want your life to be better in some way. So does this sound about right so far? Only now you're entering this realm of the unknown. Something is going to change, and this adds an element of chaos. What's it going to be like? How is it going to impact everything else? When something is new, it's unknown, and so it can be seen with suspicion, and there's doubts and fears just because it hasn't been done before. And there's some resistance to the tasks that will lead you to achieve your goal. There's resistance to changing the habits that you're used to. You think, what if I don't like the new result? What if I'm better off just keeping things the way they are? Things are fine, right? Can you see how our fears about the unknown will justify that pull to not change anything? Those fears are powerful. They can be strong enough to hold you back, no matter how much you wanted to improve that thing that the goal or the resolution was going to fix, if you let it. Now, if you go back to that moment when you decided you were going to make something better, think about what prompted you to make that decision in the first place. What wasn't working? What are you trying to make better? Can you picture the end result when you have achieved that goal and kept that resolution? Is that image something that lights you up? Do you really want it? So now procrastination can feel like liberty. It's a great excuse for not doing things. It's something we can use to justify not acting the way we said we would. Getting things done and actually doing the tasks and going through the work, that can sometimes feel like oppression, where you're being forced to do a task you'd rather not do. But what happens when you zoom out a little and you follow the chain of events and you see the end result? The impact of procrastination or motivation to get things done actually reverses. Procrastination is actually oppressive because when things don't get done, things don't change, things don't happen. Motivation is actually the liberator, where you achieve your goal. The sense of accomplishment can be really empowering and fulfilling. So the process I'm sharing today in this workshop comes from the need to change the way we do things. If what you're doing to achieve your goals isn't working, why do you still do it? Now, the term permaculture is a blending of the words permanent and agriculture. It's a framework of design principles developed for ecological and sustainable living. It harnesses the power and the balance of nature for the benefit of human life. But permaculture is so much more than just a gardening thing. The ethics and the principles apply to every aspect of life and society, including running a business. This is because Mother Nature knows best. When you learn and understand the natural order of things and work with it, you have a solution that works. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do is help small business owners to achieve perfect harmonious fulfillment as successful business owners, earth lovers, and good humans. When you're lacking energy and then you do this exercise and you feel that motivation return, it feels like a waterfall of power and energy has been opened up. Nothing can stop you. You're doing this. It's happening now. I use this process when I'm struggling with motivation, and it always makes me feel like anything is possible. Now, this process reveals how one of the permaculture principles, which is catch and store energy, can be used to capture motivation as an energy force, to use again when your resources run low. I'll show you how it works. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me and how I came to be here talking to you about permaculture to maintain your motivation to achieve your goals. The people I work with are good, decent, hardworking people. They are brave because they run their own business, and that's not an easy ride. They care about the earth and the people around them. Things can get hard, and they're smart enough to realize that they can't do everything alone. They work with me to find solutions through permaculture, and anyone who's really familiar with permaculture knows how much fulfillment it brings to live in harmony with the earth. But, there are people that are hesitant to try it because it's new, it's unknown, it might not work, it may not be for them. But everyone who has tried working with me has found it to be a positive experience. And I'd like to share a few things of what people have said about working with me, if that would be okay. So here we have Shelley, who says that since 2005, I couldn't run the business without Bronwyn. Her knowledge and solutions, she's there for me. I love the woman. I love Shelley too. She's awesome. Marina says that she's really benefited our business to get it done properly. Eugene says that I recommend Bronwyn's coaching to anyone who believes in what they're doing, but is struggling to see financial return or getting stuck in the quagmire of business admin. And then Wayne says, Bronwyn's coaching encourages you to dig deep, to challenge the negative experience you think and feel about business or life. She allows you to explore, to awaken the answers that you already have, but have not yet realized. It's a welcoming transformation of learning and reward. Thanks, Wayne. Roberta says, I have recommended her to several other businesses, including my friends, when I hear they are struggling with their business, like building too quickly, no systems in place, feeling overwhelmed, because I know she can make a difference. Thank you, Bronwyn. And thank you, Roberta. And Declan says, I feel the progress we're making in the sessions is rolling very naturally. And when I'm starting to hit certain feelings and barriers, those things are addressed in the next session. So I'm really grateful to all of these clients that have shared this with me, because the work that we do is confidential. I can't talk about anyone's work, but these are things that they have provided to me and given me permission to share with you so that you can get an idea of what it's like. Now, I used to be a regular person, just like any next door neighbor. I was running this tidy little bookkeeping business, and I was contributing my little bit to the family income. And then I got this idea about 10 years ago that I can do something more. I can offer more to my clients, and it wouldn't go away. I just knew I was capable of so much more than data entry. So I'm pursuing the options available to me, and I'm trying and failing at lots of different things. Nothing seemed to be working. It was incredibly frustrating. Have you ever felt something like that? I hit a really low point where I had to really completely and literally put my life back together from the ground up, because my sense of identity had been destroyed. Up until then, it was built entirely on being wife and mum. And when that's taken away, who am I? And so it was right at that time that I discovered coaching. Signing up to learn how to be a coach was the single most emotional business decision I'd ever made. I knew I just had to do this. I took action. I used my mortgage money to pay the deposit on the training, and then instantly burst into tears. I was as terrified as I was inspired and motivated. Have you ever taken that leap of faith with something? Just jump out into the unknown and just brace yourself. I thought it cost too much. I couldn't afford it, but I committed to it anyway, and I found the money. And that decision was the start of a beautiful journey that I've been on since. So the process to learn how to be a coach means that you go through the whole coaching process yourself. And for me, that process was one of healing and self-discovery, identity, forgiveness, growth, vision, love. It was infinitely exactly what I needed right at that time. So the coaching and healing process put me back in touch with my 6-year-old self, who was completely in love with the earth and nature. I had always been a hippie at heart, but this really brought it front and center. And I've always had this reverence for the earth and a profound gratitude that everything that humans need for health and happiness comes from the earth. So now I'm working as a coach. And given my background in small business and admin support, it made sense to be a business coach. Only I had this passion for living in harmony with the earth, and it felt like my profession wasn't completely aligned with my passion. Have you ever felt that kind of disconnect where you don't know exactly what's wrong? It's just something a bit off, like having a stone in your shoe that you just can't budge. But in my journey to rediscover my nature-loving self, that is when I literally stumbled onto permaculture. And I signed up to complete a PDC, a permaculture design certificate, before I actually really knew what it was. I just knew I had to do it to be true to my authentic self. But what I found was that every moment of every module of that training reinforced to me that this is what I've been wanting to do my whole life. I just never knew what it was called. Permaculture is a design framework that harnesses the power of nature to benefit human life. It uses the wisdom of ancient cultures to work with nature, not against it, and strives to live in harmony with the natural order of things. And permaculture starts with growing your own food, but the concepts, the principles, the ethics, the philosophies, it applies to every aspect of life and society. I began to see the business wisdom that is found in these permaculture principles, and I developed this understanding to help small business owners, just like you, to run your business the way Mother Nature would want you to. So this is it. This is the connection that I needed to make to really move forward as both a business coach and a permaculture activist. And I use the platform of business coaching to spread the movement of permaculture and make a real positive impact in the world we live in. So I have now dedicated my life and career and business to promoting the movement towards sustainability, to help one small business at a time to achieve true balance and harmony and self-sufficiency and fulfillment. In other words, to be sustainable. Now, I don't know exactly what you need to fix in your life or your business right now. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you're in freeze mode. Maybe you're stuck and unable to move forward. Maybe you're doubting yourself and what you're capable of. Maybe it's something entirely different. But whatever it is, we have an opportunity now to do something about it. I offer 4 services. Each one is connected to one of my value pillars. Now, I value community. And so I run a monthly online mastermind group. I value being true. And so I offer one-on-one coaching. I value structure. And so I offer, business plans, and that really comes to life when I'm writing business plans. And I value loving the earth, which is demonstrated in the sustainability assessments that I conduct. Each one of these services can be the, stop sharing now. There we go. So each one of these services can be the solution to a problem that you're dealing with right now. To find out one way or the other, I invite you to book a strategy session with me where you can discuss your specific situation in more detail and create a plan to get you where you want to be. I promise that when you work with me, I will give you my all. I have decades of small business bookkeeping and administration experience. I have a fiery passion for sustainability and living in harmony with the earth. And I have found for myself that this is the solution. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you today the motivation prompter card and the Kickstart activities. Now, at the start of the month, I published an article on my website talking about how to maintain motivation so you can achieve your goals. We do this through the permaculture principle of catch and store energy. Now, in permaculture, catching and storing energy talks about, you catch the energy of the sun, the wind. There's amazing natural energy forces available. We can capture the energy of geothermal and wave energy, and there's so much that we can do. Energy, motivation is an energy force, right? Have you ever noticed how when you're really motivated, you can accomplish an incredibly big amount of stuff to do. And so in this article, I explain 2 simple exercises that can overcome the resistance when it's time to do these tasks or change a habit. So if you set a goal and yep, you're all set, you're all committed to doing it, and then life gets back and tries to stop you from achieving it. So, we need to figure out how can we overcome this. Now, this article that I wrote comes on the back of last month's article, where I discussed how a holistic approach to personal development will guide you to setting goals and resolutions that actually have a positive and substantial impact on your life. So before I demonstrate how these exercises work, we need to make sure that we're in a clear and positive headspace. So take a moment to take a few deep breaths, identify the mental chatter that's going on in your head, and just close the door on that for now. Focus on something that you appreciate. It can be anything. It can be a smile from a friend, a kiss from your child, or a favorite treat waiting for you at lunchtime. Whatever it is, focus on that appreciation that you feel for it, and let this appreciation and gratitude wash over you, just like you're lying on the beach and a wave washes over you. Really feel that appreciation spread all over you. Okay, we're ready. The first exercise is to catch the energy of motivation. You know how powerful motivation can be when you're all fired up and you're crushing it. So what we need to do is link your goal or your resolution to whatever it is that the result that you want to achieve. We need to link it to your highest and deepest core values. I've got an example here. And in my example, I'm saying I want to write in my journal every week. I've learned about this thing called journaling and how it's really powerful, and it can work through things going on in my head. It can help me get some clarity, and that moment of reflection is really beneficial. Now, before that, I have identified that a few of my core values are things like my family and how I love the earth and how it's important to be true. And so now the task is to draw a map of how this action of writing in my journal will connect me with my values. First, we start with the primary benefit of journal writing. And what I've got here is, all right, so just the first things that come to your mind, those primary benefits. Okay, journaling can help me to organize my thoughts. And it can also help me to express what I'm feeling. You know, sometimes there's a lot going on, and until we actually write it out on paper, it's hard to articulate exactly what it is that we're feeling. But journaling is a great way to do that. So then the next step is we want to go through each of those benefits that we get from journaling and expand on that and recognize, why are these benefits important? So the reason that these benefits are important are, in the example of organizing my thoughts, it helps me to get to the core of what's really going on, what's really at the core of all this mental chatter that I've got going on. And the reason that it's important to express what I'm feeling, because it can identify how it impacts my relationships. So often, the things that we do, the way that we interact with people, you know that it's not specifically anything to do with them. And this is especially apparent when you have negative interactions. It's mostly a mirror of what's going on in your life and what's going on in your head. So journaling can help me to express what I'm feeling. And the reason that's important is because it'll identify how it's impacting my relationships. And can you see how this brings me closer to those core values that I identified? The more I can identify how my feelings impact the relationships with my family, the more I can do something about it to improve the relationship with my family and my friends and everyone around me. But my family, I've identified as my core. And so when I make family a priority, it means that if I can see that something is going to help my family, I am naturally drawn towards that result. And so when I'm sitting back on a Sunday afternoon and I'm thinking, oh, it's time to write in my journal, oh, I really can't be bothered. That's when I get up my prompter card and I read through it, and I remember, yeah, organizing my thoughts can help me to really get to the core of what's going on, and that will help me to be true to myself, and that's really important to me. And when I express what I'm feeling, I can identify how this impacts my relationships, and that's going to get me closer to developing stronger relationships with my family, and that's really important to me. Right, okay, well, let's get going then, because I want that result. I want that value to be grown and flourished. So as we recognize the importance, it really brings us closer to those core values. And doing this exercise, when you're setting your goals, you can really focus on those powerful emotions that are connected to your vision of you achieving those goals. So write it down. Describe how you feel. Write down what you visualize, what it looks like, what it sounds like, even what it will smell like. The more senses that you can get involved in this visualization of what that result is going to look like, when you get reminded of that, it really is very powerful. So when energy gets low, you need a boost, you bring it out, and you're back on track. Okay, now the next exercise is the Kickstarter activities. And so now this that I've got here is actually a template that's available from my website. So if you go to evertrue.com.au, you'll find the tab for the free small business resources, And that's where I have these downloadables. And you can also check out the blog too on my website. And on this downloadable, you can, so it's just printed up. So you can print it up on one page and then fold it in half, and you've got a double-sided card to complete these exercises on. But now we're doing the Kickstart activities. Now, the reason this is important is because your brain has lots of different areas. When you're setting your goals and you're visualizing the future that you want to achieve and how everything's going to be so wonderful, that's all here. And that's a really powerful, that's your thinking brain, where you do all your best work. When we get resistance, that comes from back here. And that's that primal brain, the fear of the unknown, that threat that is seen, that fires up that fight, flight, or freeze responses. And often, so much of what we want to do but don't can get trapped in that sense of threat because it's something new and suspicious and, oh, I don't know what's going to happen here. This is going to change the way things are, and things are fine the way they are. Remember that, your primal brain, its job is to keep you alive. It keeps you breathing, keeps your heart going, and if you're alive today, then it means that whatever you did yesterday must have worked, right? So let's just keep doing that, because we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to change anything that might kill you. So this back part of your brain, it's not very smart. It does its job very well, but it's not very smart. This is the smart part of your brain. And that's what we need to overcome when you get that resistance. So when we're talking about motivation as an energy force, we can also recognize that another energy force is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy happens with movement. You've seen, I don't know, I remember seeing at a sustainability fair, there was, I think some university students, and they had set up a blender attached to a exercise bike, and you'd get on and you'd, ride this bike and ride this bike and ride this bike, and it would power the blender, and then you could, make your own smoothie or something like that. It was really cool. That kinetic energy, that movement provides energy. And that produces a lot of the energy that we enjoy today. Kinetic energy from movement is the solution to the resistance that you're feeling. So in this task, what we're doing is completing this card, again, when you're in a positive headspace, when you can appreciate and feel gratitude for everything that's wonderful. We're going to develop a suggestion list of things that you can do that will diffuse the resistance that you're feeling about doing the activities that you need to complete your goal or resolution. There's a couple of criteria that we need to fill for this to work. It needs to be, number one, enjoyable and familiar. The reason for that is because if what we're trying to do is diffuse that resistance that comes up when your primal brain is saying, no, don't do it, this is new and scary, you can combat it with something that is familiar. Okay, yeah, no, we've done that before. That's okay. Yep, that was good. All right, yeah, you can continue. Go on. And it's something that you enjoy, which really helps you to have that positive mental headspace of doing something that's fun. Now, it needs to be quick and simple. That's the second criteria. Quick and simple, because when you need to do something to achieve your goals and there's this resistance, I don't want to do it, even when you've done that first exercise and you know how important it is to, your core values, how wonderful the end result is going to be. Oh, but there's still, I'm tired. That resistance can be overcome with something really quick and simple. It's not asking for much. It's not talking about a 60-minute chunk of time that takes all of your energy. We're asking for 2 or 3 minutes, no more than 10. And if there's something that you want to do that's only 10 minutes or even 2 or 3, the resistance to doing that is going to be gone. Yep, sure, okay, yeah, we can do that. It's only 10 minutes. Yeah, no worries. Okay, the third stipulation is that it needs to engage one or more of your senses. This is really important. So it can be something that engages your sense of sight, hearing, touch, smell. Did I say hearing? Sight, smell, taste. That was the other one I was forgetting. Okay, so engage one or more. And then the fourth criteria that we need to fill is that it needs to require physical movement, which means that watching Netflix doesn't count. Sorry. Okay, physical movement. Remember, we're generating kinetic energy. Doing something generates energy, and that energy is going to be the thing that helps us to overcome that resistance. So these 4 things combined will smash out any resistance that your primal brain is trying to stop you from doing, that is stopping you from achieving your goals. So the example that I've got here, I can do a couple of yoga stretches. I've recently started up yoga. Like, I've done it on and off for years and years and years, but it had been quite some time. And at the start of this year, I started up again, and I can very happily say that I've done it every single morning since the start of the year, 10 minutes a day. It's easy. It's great. Sets me up beautifully for the whole day. So that's one of my suggested activities, is do a couple of my favorite yoga stretches. And then another one, I've only got 2 because we're just keeping it simple. Another one is to dance to a favorite song. I've got a couple of suggestions, but the last time I did this, I just, there was a song that came to my mind. It was actually that Coldplay song, Viva la Vida. Yeah, that came to my mind. I thought, yeah, okay. So I put that on. I just got out Spotify and put it on, and I was dancing around the lounge room with my dog. She was loving it. It was so fun. And so I'm dancing, and then it only took 3 minutes. And in that time, that resistance that I had to the task I was needing to do, it was gone. And I got on with my job and got stuff done. So that was really cool. Couple of other suggestions of activities that might engage more of your senses. I've seen that, you can just sort of get your phone and open up your camera and take a photo. But, you're not just taking a photo, you're actually using your sense of sight to focus on something. And so focus on something, take a couple of photos, and then, you can go back and reflect on what takes your interest. And that can be really cool. So you can also, if we're going to engage your sense of taste, you can, eat some, strawberries straight out of the garden or something like that. Remember, we still need to require physical movement. And so we're not just going to sit and eat, but, doing something that can engage your sense of taste to really focus on the taste of something that you're eating, and really focus on the smell of, if you go out and do a walk through the garden, maybe you've got like a rosemary bush or something like that. The smell of rosemary, as we know, it's linked to memories. And actually your sense of smell is the sense that is most closely connected to your memories. So, maybe you can smell I love the smell of geraniums. That always reminds me of when I'm a little child, and that was really cool. So think of what it is when you're setting out your list of suggestions. Think of what it can be that will be enjoyable, that will be quick and simple, that can engage one or more of your senses, and that requires physical movement. This will diffuse the resistance that you're feeling so that you can get on and just do your stuff. So that's pretty much it. How do you see this working for you? Is this something that you'd like to explore? Is it something that you might think maybe it could work? I'm telling you it can, and it does for me. And you know, it requires such little effort to prepare your card and, you know, think of the goal that you're trying to set and why it's important, and then also to think of some activities that can overcome that resistance that you might feel to kickstart your motivation going again. And as we really honor that permaculture principle of catch and store energy, you can bottle that motivation and then access it another time when you need it. And that's a beautiful thing. I love seeing how permaculture works in business and in life and in all sorts of things. There is always an answer. And so I'd like to invite you to get in touch with me. If you don't already, you know, you can get in touch and ask for a strategy session where we can just connect on Zoom and see if there's something that I can offer to help you with whatever it is that you're working through right now. But that's it for now. And so until we meet again, let's not let this be the end of it, but the beginning. So I hope that your business is successful. I hope that your day runs smoothly, and I hope you achieve everything that you set out to do. Bye for now.